15 most heavily protected African presidents. Every country in the world has implemented maximum security measures to ensure that their president can go about their daily activities without fear. Every African president has a security detail, but some are more secure than others, as has always been the case. Furthermore, presidents deserve the highest level of protection in order to fulfill their mandate and serve without fear. Presidents are elected by the people in most democratic countries, and as such, they require the highest level of security to carry out their duties effectively. Africa has some of the most closely guarded presidents in the world, but some African rulers go above and beyond to ensure their safety. The majority of the presidents on this list are from countries that have experienced political and civil unrest, necessitating close protection. The majority of these presidents travel in convoys and armored vehicles. The majority of African presidents are not well protected, but the 15 African presidents on today's list are among the best protected leaders on the continent. Join us on our journey today to learn more about Africa's most protected presidents. Stay tuned as we embark on this tour. 15. Wavel Ramkalawan, Seychelles. Wavel Ramkalawan has been the president of the Republic of Seychelles since October 2020. Ramkalawan is an Anglican Church ordained minister who began his career as a priest. He is originally from Mahé, the Seychelles' main island. As a result of his pastoral work, he came into contact with people who were victims of social and civil injustices. As a result, Ramkalawan became interested in politics and began to question the one-party government's tactics at the time. Ramkalawan strengthened his security unit following his election. His entourage consists of a convoy of motorcycles, armored vehicles, including his presidential armored car, and numerous police vehicles to protect him, particularly when he is not in his car. 14. Adama Barrow, Gambia. Adama Barrow of the Gambia is ranked 14th in this video. Adama Barrow, born on February 15, 1965, is a Gambian politician and real estate entrepreneur who has served as president of the Gambia since 2017. In the 2016 presidential election, Barrow defeated longtime incumbent Yahya Jammeh with 43.34% of the vote. Jammeh acknowledged the vote at first, but later reversed his decision, forcing Barrow to flee to Senegal. He was sworn in at the Gambian embassy in Senegal on January 19, 2017, and on January 21, Jammeh was forced to flee the Gambia and go into exile. Barrow returned to Gambia on January 26. In November 2021, Adama Barrow announced his candidacy for the 2021 presidential election, and he was re-elected. The Gambian government has delegated presidential protection to the police force for the first time in more than 3 decades. His convoy, known as the Baron, is always escorted by military vehicles provided by the ECOWAS regional bloc, which is responsible for the nation's security. Adama's movement is always marked by roadblocks. 13. George Weah, Liberia. George Manneh Alpom Weah, Liberia's president since 2018, is a Liberian politician and former professional footballer born on October 1, 1966. Before being elected president, Weah served as a senator from Montserrado County. He was primarily a striker during his 18-year professional football career, which ended in 2003. He is the first African-born former professional footballer to be elected president. Weah became interested in Liberian politics after retiring from football. He founded the Congress for Democratic Change and ran for president in 2005, but was defeated in the second round by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. In the 2011 election, he ran for vice president alongside Winston Tubman, but lost. Weah was elected to represent Montserrado County in the Liberian Senate in the 2014 elections. After defeating incumbent Vice President Joseph Boakai in the 2017 election, Weah was sworn in as Liberia's president on January 22, 2018. He is the country's first democratically elected president. He is heavily guarded by the Any Presidential Army, a special squad. The convoy is made up of at least 15 vehicles, the vast majority of which are armored cars. When he gets out of his car, he is surrounded by a dozen guards. His movements are meticulously planned, with extra security at his destination. 12. Ali Bongo Ondimba, Gabon. Ali Bongo Ondimba, born Alain Bernard Bongo on February 9, 1959, is a Gabonese politician who has been the country's third president since October 2009. Ali Bongo is the son of Omar Bongo, Gabon's former president from 1967 to 2009. He was Minister of Foreign Affairs from 1989 to 1991, a deputy in the Bongaville National Assembly from 1991 to 1999, and Minister of Defense from 1999 to 2009. After his father died, he won the Gabonese presidential election in 2009. He was re-elected in 2016 after an election marred by irregularities, arrests, human rights violations, and post-election protests and violence. Bongo is also the president of the Gabonese Democratic Party. President Ali is currently one of Africa's most guarded presidents. He is heavily guarded by armed security officers when he enters and exits the country on official business. His presidential vehicles are always trailed by presidential guards on foot until he is out of sight of the public. His convoy of high-speed motorcycles and armored land cruisers follows him wherever he goes, creating one of the most interesting presidential motorcades in history. 11. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Egypt. Egypt's current president, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, is ranked 11th. In 2014, he was sworn in as the country's president. His official vehicle was a 2013 Mercedes-Benz S-Class with a unique black registration plate. President Abdel is currently one of Africa's most protected leaders, as his country has one of the most powerful and trusted armed forces in the continent. When he goes out in public, he is always accompanied by more than 20 bodyguards, and his motorcade is always comprised of high-speed motorcycles, land cruisers, and a large number of Mercedes-Benz. 10. Emerson Mnangagwa, Zimbabwe. Emerson Mnangagwa, a Zimbabwean revolutionary and politician, was born on September 15, 1942, and has served as Zimbabwe's president since November 24, 2017. He was a member of the ZANU-PF party and a longtime ally of former President Robert Mugabe. He served as Mugabe's vice president until November 2017, when he was removed from power in a coup. He won his first full term as president in the contentious 2018 general election. Because of the country's instability, which led to the clean takeover of deceased President Robert Mugabe, Mnangagwa's security detail has been beefed up, particularly while he is on official business both inside and outside the country. 5 presidential guards on high-speed motorbikes accompany the 80-year-old in an armored limousine. 9. Paul Biya, Cameroon. Cameroonian politician Paul Barthélemy Biya Bay Mbondo has been the country's president since November 6, 1982. On February 13, 1933, he was born. He is the continent's oldest head of state and the world's longest-serving non-royal leader. There have been no reports of assassination since the attempted coup in 1984, during his 4 decades as president of Cameroon. The 89-year-old travels in an armored Range Rover or an armored limousine on important occasions. His convoy includes fast Land Cruisers, Mercedes-Benz S-Class sedans, and more than 20 fast motorcycles. When President Biya travels outside the country, he is accompanied by more than 20 bodyguards. Biya is the continent's second longest-serving leader. 8. Alassane Ouattara, Côte d'Ivoire. Alassane Ouattara is an Ivorian politician who has been the president of the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, since 2010. Ouattara, a trained economist, worked for the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the Central Bank of West African States before being appointed Prime Minister of Côte d'Ivoire from November 1990 to December 1993 by President Félix Houphouët-Boigny, Ouattara was elected president of the Rally of the Republicans, RDR, an Ivory Coast political party, in 1999. Côte d'Ivoire's president is heavily guarded both inside and outside the country. His presidential motorcade is always escorted by bodyguards who walk alongside it until it is out of sight of the general public. 7. King Mohammed VI, Morocco. Morocco's king is Mohammed VI. He is a member of the Alawi family and succeeded to the throne on the death of his father, King Hassan II, on July 23, 1999. When Mohammed first came to power, he instituted a lot of changes and altered the Mutawana family law, which gave women more control. In 2010, WikiLeaks released diplomatic cables that led to claims of corruption in Mohammed's court, implicating him and his closest associates. Protests against corruption and calls for political reform erupted across Morocco in 2011 as part of the Arab Spring. Mohammed responded by enacting a reform program and introducing a new constitution. On July 1, 2011, a public referendum approved these amendments. When the King of Morocco visits mountainous areas, he travels in an armored Mercedes S500 and a Land Rover. An ambulance is part of his procession, and he is always escorted by 20 motorcycles. He is thought to be Africa's wealthiest head of state. 6. Muhammadu Buhari, Nigeria. Muhammadu Buhari GCFR is a Nigerian politician who has been president of the country since 2015. He is a retired Nigerian Army Major General who led the country's military from December 31, 1983 to August 27, 1985, following a military coup. Buharism refers to his military dictatorship's totalitarian policies. Buhari ran for president of Nigeria 3 times, in 2003, 2007, and 2011. In December 2014, he was named the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate for the 2015 general election. In the election, Buhari defeated incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan. This was the first time in Nigerian history that an incumbent president lost a general election. He was sworn in on May 29, 2015. Buhari was re-elected president in February 2019, defeating his closest rival, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, by more than 3 million votes. The President of Africa leads the continent's most populous country, and his motorcade is one of the largest on the continent, consisting of armored Mercedes-Benz and police motorcycles. President Buhari is escorted by more than 10 bodyguards every time he leaves the country. 5. Paul Kagame, Rwanda. President Kagame was born on October 23, 1957, in Rwanda, and is a former military leader. He is Rwanda's current and 4th president, having taken office in 2000. Kagame was previously the leader of the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, a Uganda-based rebel organization that invaded Rwanda in 1990 and was a participant in the Rwandan Civil War, as well as the armed force that stopped the genocide. From 1994 to 2000, he was regarded as Rwanda's de facto leader while serving as Vice President and Minister of Defense under President Pastor Bizimungu. He travels in an armored Range Rover, one of Africa's most expensive presidential vehicles. When he appears in public, he is accompanied by high-speed police motorcycles, armored Mercedes-Benz, Land Cruisers, and a security guard who surrounds his car. 4. Cyril Ramaphosa, South Africa. Matameless Cyril Ramaphosa is a businessman and politician from South Africa who has been the country's 5th democratically elected president since 2018, as well as the president of the African National Congress since 2017. Ramaphosa served as Secretary General of President Nelson Mandela's ANC, Vice President of President Jacob Zuma, and Chairman of the National Planning Commission from 2014 to 2018. He was an anti-apartheid activist, trade union leader, and businessman in the past. The South African president is accompanied on official business by an armored motorcade and heavily armed presidential guards. 3. Uhuru Kenyatta, Kenya. Kenyan politician Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has been the country's president since 2013. Uhuru was a member of parliament for Gatundu South from 2002 to 2013. He was also the deputy prime minister from 2007 to 2013. He is currently a member and the party leader of Kenya's Jubilee Party, which has seen its popularity dwindle in recent years. Uhuru was a member of the Kenya African National Union, KNU, before forming the National Alliance, TNA, one of the allied parties that campaigned for his election in the 2013 general elections, and later merged with William Samoei Ruto's United Republican Party, URP, to form the Jubilee Party. Uhuru Kenyatta is the son of Jomo Kenyatta, Kenya's first president, and his fourth wife, Mama Ngina Kenyatta. Since 1991, he has been married to Margaret Gakuo Kenyatta. They have 3 children, 2 sons, Jomo and Nuhoho, and a daughter, Ngina. The Kenyan president's vehicle is an armored Mercedes-Benz, and his convoy includes over 10 high-speed police motorcycles and numerous expensive high-speed automobiles. Every time President Kenyatta leaves the country, he is accompanied by more than 10 bodyguards. 2. Alpha Condé Guinea. Condé, born on March 4, 1938, is a Guinean politician who served as the country's 4th president from 2010 to 2021. Condé spent decades in Guinea opposing various regimes, running unsuccessfully in presidential elections against President Lansana Conté in 1993 and 1998, and leading the Rally of the Guinean People, RPG, an opposition party. In the 2010 presidential election, Condé was re-elected in a second round of voting. Following his election, he promised to strengthen Guinea's democracy and combat corruption. When Condé took office in December 2010, he became the country's first freely elected president. Condé was re-elected in 2015 with approximately 58% of the vote, and again in 2020 with 59.5% of the vote, following a constitutional referendum that allowed him to reset his term limit and seek 2 additional terms. The decision sparked massive protests both before and after the referendum, which were violently suppressed. Detractors of Condé have claimed that the elections in 2015 and 2020 were rigged. Condé succeeded Chad's Idriss Déby as African Union president on January 30, 2017. Rwandan President Paul Kagame took over as his successor on January 28, 2018. On September 5, 2021, Condé was apprehended and deposed by the Guinean Armed Forces. When the Guinea president travels, he is always accompanied by more than 10 high-speed motorcycles and land cruisers. When President Condé attends a ceremony that requires him to interact with locals or travel outside of Guinea, he is escorted by more than 20 bodyguards. 1. King Mswati III, Swaziland. Mswati III is the king of the Swazi royal family and the ruler of Eswatini. He was born in Manzini, Swaziland's protectorate, to King Sapu's II and one of his younger wives, Ntifambai Tfwala. On April 25, 1986, at the age of 18, he was anointed Mswati III, Ingwanyama, and King of Swaziland, making him the world's youngest sovereign monarch at the time. He rules the kingdom as an absolute monarch alongside his mother, Ntifambai Tfwala, who is now Queen Mother, Ndila Vukati. Mswati III is well known for his polygamy, despite the fact that the state appoints at least 2 wives, and he currently has 15 wives. King Mswati III has ruled Swaziland since 1986, and he has been seen in public shirtless, which he claims is his way of respecting African cultures and beliefs. He is well known for his polygamy. As of last year, he had 15 wives. His motorcade consists of fast motorcycles and heavily armed security officers. With coups taking place in several countries, Particularly in Africa, these presidents have devised strategies to protect themselves from assassination or overthrow. They are able to instill fear and respect in the citizens by remaining at the top with these high-security units. Thank you for your time. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Africa Reloaded for more exciting updates.